Pratel's health begins to deteriorate and he decides to make amends with his past. Let's talk about Pose. Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel and click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also follow all the information I have in the description box as well as the comment section. Also like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. Now before I get started with this review, let me send a special shout out to Metro Health DC. If you are in the DMV area and you're looking for quality health care, reach out to us at Metro Health DC. The number is in the description box and the comment section, and also the link to the Metro Health DC YouTube channel, where you can get a lot of videos about healthcare, as well as, you know, different pretty much videos that's based on health education. So check out so pretty much subscribe to Metro Health DC's YouTube channel, and also call the number if you want to get set up with healthcare, and someone from the outreach team will be in touch with you. Also, let me send a shout out to GMHC, which is Gay Men's Health Collaborative. If you are in the DMV area and would like to get tested for HIV, reach out to the GMHC crew for a home testing kit. You can have the kit mailed to you, or you can call and make a same-day appointment and actually come to our location to pick one up. And if you are interested in PrEP, which is HIV prevention medication, reach out to the GMHC crew for that as well. Also, if you're a fan of your boy KRSTV and would like to become one of my Black Diamonds, subscribe to my Patreon today. Black Diamonds, because in darkness, we still shine. For $5 a month, you get all of my YouTube content, as well as videos that will be specific for the Black Diamonds. And some of those videos I will share on YouTube just to give people an idea of what the Black Diamonds is all about. Also, check out my YouTube partner, BK World Tube, which is the Black Netflix. You get shows like The Haves and the Have-Nots, as well as The Oval. So after you watch this review, click that link in the description box and comment section to check out BK World 2. Now this is Pose Season 3, Episode 4, and the name of this episode is Take Me to Church. And man, this episode was very heavy, and I was glad to get this backstory of Pratel, because it explains why Pratel is the way he is, and that a lot of the, negative things that he was dealing with was rooted somewhere. So in the beginning of the episode, we see that Pratel is waking up, from all of these night sweats, and he's sweating so profusely that it's just soaking his sheets. So he's constantly changing his bed, and like he's just sweating profusely. And then he notices that he has a lesion on his shoulder. He goes to the doctor. He's there with Blanca and Nurse Judy. They come to find out that the doctor pretty much lets him know that he has lymph nodes, and that he has been diagnosed with AIDS-related lymphoma, which is cancer. And he was like, well, can I get chemo? He was like, yeah, you can do chemo, but yeah, it'll get rid of the cancer, but it will also get rid of you, because due to the fact that you have AIDS, the chemo you're not going to be strong enough to get through chemo. So they pretty much told him that, the doctor pretty much blatantly told him that he only had 6 months to live. So, he pretty much was saying that I always told myself that I was on borrowed time, and now I know that I know. And we see that he actually later on sits down with Blanca and Nurse Judy. Nurse Judy was mad as hell at that dollar. She was like, that old sensitive dumb motherfucker. What the fuck does he know? We can go get a second opinion. Fuck him. I love me some Nurse Judy, because Nurse Judy goes hard for the people she loves. But he pretty much says that, you know what? I realized that I always said I was on borrowed time, but now I know I'm on borrowed time. And I gotta make things right. I gotta tell people I love them, and I got some people to forgive. So the next thing you know, we see that he's on the bus on his way to Pittsburgh. And we see that a lot of Pray Tell's story is Billy Porter's story, because Billy Porter is from Pittsburgh. And also shout out to Spiller Boy TV, another native of Pittsburgh, Yeah, I've actually been to Pittsburgh, years ago. I actually love it there, so it's everything. But yeah, we see that Pray Tell, goes back to Pittsburgh. Pretty much they're playing Jackie Wilson's Lonely Teardrops, so he's kind of going back to his youth. And we see that when he gets out the car in front of his mother's house, he sees these two girls who were pretty much jumping rope, and then he kind of has a flashback where these two girls are turning the rope and he's jumping, and it's like, go pray, and it was like he is kind of having a visit with his old self. And then all of a sudden we hear this woman say, prayerful? And it's his mother. So really, Pray Tell's real name is Prayerful. I was like, wow, that is one child that you could tell that they were very deep into the church, but that was very country, child. Prayerful. But that's his name, and his mother is played by the veteran actress Anna Marie Horsford. Y'all remember her from playing Thelma on Amen, as well as playing the mother on the Friday movies. So it was good to see her in this role. And pretty much we also meet his aunties, Aunt Latrice and Aunt Jada. And do I tell you, they did a phenomenal job casting Pray Tell's family. Anna Marie Horsford is his mother. His Aunt Latrice was played by Janet Hubert, the original Aunt Viv. And it was great seeing her in this role. She was so good playing this aunt, because Aunt Latrice was a mess. She was the choir director, and she just had an opinion on everything, honey. She was deep into the church and very opinionated. But then we also had Aunt Jada, who was played by Emmy Award-winning actress Jackie Harry. Mary from 227, honey. It was good seeing her in this role. And Jada was more laid back, and we could tell she had more of an understanding and more of a rapport for Pray Tell. But clearly, we kind of see his family dynamic as to where he came from. And, the mama's frying catfish and everything. And while he's there, he reveals to them that he has AIDS and that he's dying. His mother, whose name is Charlene, she just couldn't take it. She just kind of scrunched up her face and left the room. And then Aunt Latrice, who's played by Janet Hubert, was being really judgmental. I always said that you and your wicked ways was going to catch up with you. That's why I'm praying for your soul. I'm praying for your soul and all of that. And Pray Tell did not play with her. He was like, boo-boo, pray for my soul. Like, no, you're not praying for my soul, because if you were praying for my soul, you wouldn't be coming at me like this. Like, pretty much, like, stood up to her. So, pretty much, here it is, his Aunt Latrice is being very judgmental and saying that, hate the sin, not the sinner, And, just had all these biblical cliches that she was throwing at Pray Tell. And Pray Tell wasn't having any of it. But it was a breakthrough for him, because he realized, wow, this is where it all started. The drinking, the drugging, the one-night stands, this reckless life I've been living, it all started here. Church hurt. And trust me, a lot of us in the black community know what that feels like. And he can also, and pretty much his aunt Jada identified with that because the church shunned her for getting a divorce. And then you still had Latrice being judgmental. Yeah, that's because you had a baby with a married man. And I was just like, it's just so funny how people are so quick to list everybody else's sins, but are very slow to admit their own. Ain't that a mess? So it was cool that we really saw this is where Prey was broken at an early age, because he didn't have the support of his family, and his family, due to their beliefs, shunned him to the point that he went out into the world and lived recklessly because he never felt love on the inside, because the people that needed to love and nurture him pretty much cast him away because he was a gay man. And then Miss Latrice, his aunt Latrice, was like, you should come to church with me. I got choir rehearsal today. And you get to meet our new pastor. And he was like, who's the new pastor? And she was like, Vernon Jackson. He was like, new pastor? Really? He was like, God forgives and God forgets. I was like, she really played the hell out that role, because that damn aunt was a mess. So he goes to the church, and let me tell you, Lettucey and B. Slade were singing the church down, baby. You know, they were singing To God Be the Glory, and they were singing down. They literally brought heaven up in there, because both of them are phenomenal singers. And it just goes to show you that both of them are members of the LGBTQ, and that God loves the LGBTQ, baby. And if you say anything different, you're going to hell. And your boy Kenny from KRSTV told you that. So choke on that shit. Gag on it. Because God loves everybody. And here it is, both of them, who are members of the LGBTQ community, gave us the Lord, honey, and literally gave us church in that moment. Now, while Pray Tell is sitting here listening to them sing, we see Mr. Vernon Jackson. And I love the actor that plays him. He used to be on Scandal. He's a really good actor. But he comes up in there, and he notices that Pray's there, and all of a sudden he sits right behind Pray, and you can just see he's infatuated that Prey is even there. So, and it's been like 25 years since Prey's been there. And we can see that, yeah, that chemistry between Vernon and Pray Tell was evident. We not only find out that Vernon and Pray Tell actually had a relationship back in the day, that they were pretty much high school sweethearts, but Vernon decides to live a closeted life. He ends up marrying Ebony, who was Pray Tell's best friend in high school, and they have 3 kids. And then Vernon is pretty much, I've let go of all those desires, and I've let the Lord come into my life. And pretty much, he says that this church has become home to me. And Pray Tell was like, but I thought I was home to you. I remember when you told me that I was home for you. And he was like, but I wasn't going to leave the church. And Pray Tell was like, I didn't leave the church either. The church left me. And he's like, if you just get down on your knees. And Pray Tell was like, oh, trust me, I have been down on my knees, and I have had many blessings from many men. I was like, oh, shit. Oh, the damn shade was real, boy. He really went there, and then all of a sudden, before Pray Tell's about to leave, Vernon was like, oh, won't you come to dinner tonight with me, Ebony, and the kids? And he's like, that's not going to be a good idea, Vernon. And then he starts quoting, and then Vernon had the nerve to be quoting some scripture. He was like, really, Vernon? So then we see later on he goes home. After Praytel leaves the church and leaves Vernon with all his mess, he goes home to speak to his mother. His mother has finally come out of her room, and pretty much we really saw how his mother really felt. And he was like, why don't you say something? Why don't you say something? She's like, well, it is what it is. But then she was like, I knew that you was going to get that disease once you told me you was gay. You know, and don't you be going over there messing with Vernon, trying to ruin his life. You know, he got me through some really dark times. And he was like, what do you mean dark times? She said dark times. Times where I almost didn't get out of bed and I didn't know what I was going to do because I was worried about you and how you was living your life and how you was conducting yourself, you know, and, you know, I was worried about you and how you were living and how you were, you know, living your life up in New York because you left your family and you left everything, and I was just worried about, you know, I was just worried about how you, what was going on with you, put me in a bad place. Oh, Praytel pretty much let her know, no, honey, you weren't worried about me. You're worried about what other people think about you. And besides, because if you were really worried about me, why did you stay with that man knowing what he did to me? Talking about his stepfather, Ernest. Remember, we saw that last season when he was in the hospital after he had that bad reaction to taking AZT, and the ghost of Ernest came and pretty much, you know, like, you seduced me. He's like, how the hell would I do that? I was a child. How you used to come into my room in the cloak of night and try to make it with me. So yeah, this goes on a lot in the black community, that the parent knows that their child is being violated, but they want to save face and they want to keep things the way they are, and they just kind of live like things are normal when all they've done is just created a trauma environment for their child. And pretty much she said, and he was like, and she was like, I told him to leave you alone, and he finally stopped. And he was like, yeah, after I was old enough to push him off of me, but by then the damage was done. Why did you stay there? You should have told him off and left him. He's like, I couldn't do that. He provided really well for us. So I was like, oh, so mama, so you knew that this man was molesting your son, but because he was paying the bills and was, you know, supporting your lifestyle, you chose to stay even though it was to your son's detriment. How many people in the black community have that story? And it's not even just about being gay, but just the whole thing about, you know, molestation and child abuse. I mean, Prey was being sexually abused by his stepfather. How many stepfathers abuse their stepdaughters or their stepsons? And the mother goes along with it because she wants to have a man in her life and he's helping her to pay the bills. So because he's kind of eased the tension, you practically sacrifice your child for the sake of security. Security that's built on quicksand. So pretty much she was like, you know, well, hey, I don't know why we even talking about this. It's 20 years. Just let the past lie. So Praytel is just bothered by this shit because he realizes that his mother is completely full of shit and that she doesn't even want to admit that what she did was wrong. You know, that you knew that this man was violating me, and yet you stayed with him because you wanted to keep up appearances that you had this happy family. You wanted to fit in. And that's a pressure, you know, a lot of people think peer pressure is just when you're in school. The real peer pressure is when you become an adult and you're living your life and you're trying to fit in with society or fit in with social groups, you know, or organizations like the church. And you decide that you're going to play this role because you want to be accepted. And it's like, you know, it's a problem, you know, and it's a problem that's very big in the black community that we need to start checking ourselves about, because we have gotten to the point where we live lives full of trauma like it's normal. trauma is never normal, because trauma does nothing but kill you off over the years. So then we see that we pretty much go back to Pray Tell's childhood, and the little boy who played Pray Tell was singing his butt off. That boy got a voice on him. They were singing "Oh Happy Day," and we can see that, yes, that was Pray, because you know Billy Porter sings down as well. So they had to get somebody who could sing down to play him, and that little boy was singing his tail off. And we see that this is when, you know, him and Vernon kind of have like their first one-on-one. He's like, "Can I walk you home?" And then they go collect all of the song books and everything and the Bibles and put them back. They go upstairs, you know, to the balcony of the church, and he tells him like, "Wow, I really love your voice. You're an amazing singer." He's like, "You really think so?" He's like, "Yeah, you know, you're special. You're my favorite singer." And then the next thing you know, we see that Vernon leans in and kisses Pray Tell. And then we see Aunt Latrice, the young version of Aunt Latrice, catches them and was like, "Prayerful." I'm like, boo-boo. We all knew that Pray Tell was who he was, because his aura was already there, which is why he was molested. Because at the end of the day, you are who you are. You know, and you got some people in the black community who get this false notion that, you know, the molestation made, because Pray Tell was molested, it made him gay. No, boo-boo. Pray Tell was already gay. He was molested because he was gay. Because they see you as a target, and they know that they can have their way with you, and they can have dominance because they have power. So they will go after a gay child and violate them. And that's what happened with Pray Tell. So, but then it really made me feel some kind of way, because she yelled at Pray Tell like Pray Tell put the moves on Vernon. No, baby. Vernon put the moves on Pray Tell. Yeah, y'all watch that back. Vernon was the one who made the move on Pray Tell, honey. You know, she gonna call out Prayerful like Prayerful made the move on Vernon. No, baby, it was the other way around. And then we see it goes back into 1994. We see that he's there with Vernon, Ebony, and, you know, their kids. They got 3 children, and Pray Tell is just looking at this like, this is a bunch of bullshit. That's the vibe that Pray Tell was given. And then all of a sudden, Vernon gets a call that there's somebody who's near death, and they need him to minister to them, which is normal for pastors. But then he says, "Pray Tell, are you gonna stay and wait for me?" Why, bitch? You got a whole damn wife. Why does Pray Tell gotta stay and wait for you? Soon as that, I was like, Vernon is living a lie. He's living a lie. And more so because afterwards, we see that Pray Tell and Ebony catch up. Ebony was the most popular girl in school. She was the head cheerleader. You know, her and Pray Tell were besties. And she literally tells Pray Tell, "Can you help me to satisfy Vernon?" Because you see that the 2 kids, they're 5 years apart, because for years he wouldn't even touch me. And Pray Tell was like, "The man is gay. What? I can't help you with that. Are you serious?" But then she says, "But he's a good man, though. He's a man that's solid. He has integrity and all of that." She's like, "Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he will make a good life partner. Like, the man is gay. Like, why would you do this to yourself? Like, you could have had anybody. You're beautiful." And Ebony is a beautiful woman. But, you know, she pretty much says that we need to draw closer to God. Do you see that on that wall? And there was a picture of white Jesus. She's like, well, that just goes to show that even in our own churches, the white man gets down on his knees for the white man. I was like, oh, Pray Tell was just throwing them one-liners this episode, young. But then she says that, think of what Jesus went through. Jesus was spit on. He was beaten. He was mocked. He was ridiculed. You know, this goes to show that when we go through suffering and we go through pain, you know, we are more closer to him. That's the God you serve, Ebony? Because that ain't the God that I signed up for. And Pray Tell was like, well, it sounds like your God is a real asshole. I'm like, tell me about it. Like, through suffering, you're closer to God? Like, seriously? Where they do that at? And it's just like, she literally put herself in this position where she suffers all the time because she married a man that truly doesn't love her. I mean, they love each other, but they're not in love with each other. And yet they built a whole family around this lie. Like Pray Tell pretty much told her that you've literally built your marriage on quicksand. And then all of a sudden we see that Pray Tell actually hung around. I was like, Pray Tell, I would have left. I would not have been hanging around for his ass. But finally, Vernon comes back. He lets Pray Tell know that the woman had passed away and she went peacefully. And then he says, you want to take a walk? And I was like, oh, let's take a long walk around the park after dark. And that's exactly what they did. They went into the park after dark, and then all of a sudden, Vernon literally lets the cat out the bag that he still had feelings for Pray Tell, and that he wanted to be with him, and that I should have went with you, but I was scared. I shouldn't have let you do this alone. And then he starts kissing on Pray Tell, and Pray Tell is like, what about your wife and your kids? And he was like, look, I can't do this anymore. I want to be with you. I've always wanted to be with you. And he lets him know that, look, my plane, I'll go back to New York on Sunday, and my bus leaves at 5. And he's like, I'll be there. Really, Vernon? You gonna leave your wife and kids to go be with Pray Tell when Pray Tell is literally dying of AIDS and only has 6 months to live? I knew from that point on that, yeah, Vernon's full of shit. Totally full of shit. But then later on we see that Pray Tell and his mother finally come. They finally have another conversation, and in this conversation, his mother finally apologized to him that, yeah, she didn't want to be alone. She didn't want to wreck the image that she created, so she stayed with that man knowing he was hurting Pray Tell. And pretty much she says that, I realized there was nothing wrong with my beautiful singing happy boy. Nothing was wrong with you, you know. And pretty much she asks him to go to church with her, and it was cool seeing him cuddle up with his mother like a little boy, because he was a hurt little boy all these years. This is why he had that turbulent relationship with Ricky, why he had all of this issues with drinking and all of that, because he was a hurt little boy living a man's experience. How many of us black men are like that now? Even those who are not gay, who are little boys living, hurt little boys living a grown man experience. And you wonder why your man is screwed up? You better do some research, honey. So we see that he decides to go to church with his mother, and let me say, Miss Charlene looked good in that in her church hat, that yellow church hat. Miss Charlene looked nice. And he comes to church, and we see that, you know, Vernon up in the pulpit with his fake ass, and Aunt Latrice pretty much gets on the mic, and she invites Pray Tell to sing. Pray Tell, you know, Mr. Billy Porter does what he does, sang the roof off of the church, and had everybody praising, because I have to say, gay people are gifted from God. They really are. And we see that Pray Tell is a gift, you know, and he finally was able to make peace with his past and make peace with all of the hurt and the pain he went through. Then after church, he meets with his Aunt Jada, and his Aunt Jada apologizes to him because she says, I should have stood up for you. I always knew, but I didn't defend you like I should have. I should have stuck by you. I should have had your back. So pretty much she gives him these papers, which is power of attorney. And she says that I know that, you know, once you die, people do away with your stuff. With this power of attorney, I will make sure that whatever you want gets done. And then he says that, well, I want to be cremated and I want all of my ashes to be put in these heart lockets. You know, to get a lot of heart lockets and put a piece of some of the ashes inside the heart locket. So therefore, no matter what, everybody will have a piece of me with them. And he says, now, I'm going to let you know. There's this bitch named Electra who gonna think she deserve one of locket. Who thinks she deserve one of lockets. You tell her I said from the grave to kiss my entire ass. I was like, really, pray tell? You mean as hell? Like, come on now. You know you and her kiki and y'all be cutting each other down, but at the end of the day, y'all see each other. That was mean as hell. So we see that he goes to the bus stop. We literally see Vernon's car pull up, but then it definitely goes the other way. I knew Vernon's old punk ass wasn't gonna come there, because if he wasn't man enough to do it then, he damn sure ain't man enough to do it now, because that denial weakens you over time. So over the years, due to the fact that he's been living this lie and he has built this whole lie, there's no way in hell he's gonna break away from that. He's gonna pretty much live a closeted existence, because he never had the strength to come out and be who he truly is. He just decided to. He pretty much did exactly what Pray Tell's mother did, kept up an image. So pretty much, you know, we see that Pray Tell is feels some kind of way, but we can kind of tell that Pray Tell knew his ass wasn't gonna be there. He waited, but he knew that Vernon wasn't going to be there, because Vernon doesn't have the confidence and the courage that he has. I mean, shoot, Pray Tell knew who he was at an early age. Whereas Vernon knew, but Vernon didn't want the rejection, so he decided to stay behind closed doors. There are a lot of them walking around here who know who they are, but they're living an image because they don't want the rejection, and they don't want to be cast away. So then we see that he's back in New York and he has dinner, and we can see that there's a totally different aura about Pray Tell. You can tell he's more thankful. He's more at peace with himself. He's more at peace as to where he is with his life, and even at peace as to when his time is up. He's at peace. And we see that, you know, he's there with Blanca, Electra, Poppy, and Angel, and they're having dinner. And that's where the episode ended. You know, that Pray Tell has become a better version of himself. And I must say, it was beautiful to see. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, get down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Let me know what were your ideas and your thoughts about this episode. I'd love to hear from you. So until next time, everybody, take care.